All right, let's just get to this.
You want to abolish ICE. Who's going to deport the criminal aliens from the country?
Long before we ever had ICE, we had INS. We were able to enforce our immigration policies without shooting people in the face and the back of the head. And we just celebrated our 250th anniversary. That was an anniversary of throwing away tyranny. Now, to bring that tyranny back under the guise of the U.S. government itself, that seems to me to be inconsistent with the freedom you and I both love.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a dodge, Abdul. They did the same thing as ICE back then, INS.
They didn't. That's bullshit. It's not like the INS was great, but to compare them to this iteration of ICE is totally ridiculous. Even ICE of a different time period, like maybe a decade ago, is not the same as ICE right now. That isn't to say that ICE is good. It's just to show you how insane things have gotten.
Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country now?
We had, no, I mean, to your point, Jesse, let me just answer the question. To your point,
how many do we have?
Far fewer when we had INS. To your answer, we had
exactly.
far fewer when we had INS. So arguably,
we now have,
INS worked a lot better.
Abdul, listen, we had twice as many illegals now when we had INS.
So to your argument,
you have to have the manpower to...
Oh, God. Let him fucking speak, Jesse. God damn it.
Do it.
If you want to do that correlation, we have ICE now, and we have far, far more undocumented people. So ICE is clearly not working. It's just shooting like American citizens in the face and the back of the head. So if you're okay with that,
illegals are shooting people in the face, too.
Agree to disagree.
Abdul, you got a guy in Michigan.
So are American citizens.
You got a guy...
Just think, look,
let me just say something, okay?
To get back to the conversation about the broader issues.
Okay.
Well, you cut me off, Jesse, and you said we're going to have a good conversation. So I'd like to do that. I just want to answer the point. When I travel the state, and I have traveled my state, more people are asking me about how they're going to afford their gas and groceries. They're not asking me about immigration.
Well,
now,
they also don't want to get molested. Abdul, you got a guy here from Southeast Asia, molested a kid. ICE just picked him up. You want that guy to stay in Michigan?
I'm glad that guy got picked up, but that's a different
response that I would give in this situation. ICE does not operate in a serious and normal law enforcement function. I want local police to arrest him after conducting an investigation, and I want him to go through the regular court process. This is what normally happens. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet ICE did not pick him up from the street. ICE probably picked him up from the jail. That's what happens. That is the reality of how ICE operates. ICE does not have any real law enforcement function. ICE is simply predisposed with going after paperwork violators.
Saying that INS would not have picked him up. Jesse, you're too smart for this.
It's a bureaucratic game you're playing, and that's a dodge.
You point to him, you say,
you need guys to get these guys out of the country.
And therefore, ICE, we need ICE. I'm just saying, look, playing by your own rules. When we had INS, we had fewer people doing the things that you're talking about.
That's because Biden didn't blow open the border back then.
When we had that.
All right, that's because Biden didn't blow open the border back then.
And that's not an ICE question. That's a CBP question.
No,
Jesse,
you guys let in a ton of people, and we got to get them out, and we'll take the guys out the way we need to take them out. Green New Deal, you back that up. Do you drive an electric car?
I drive a plug-in hybrid made right in the United States. The bigger question about cars, though, is why the president just started a trade war or escalated a trade war with Canada. It's about to make all of our cars, especially the internal combustion engine cars, so much more expensive.
You want to get rid of the internal combustion engine?
No, I don't. Who told you that?
That's what the Green New Deal says.
My dad came to America to design internal combustion engines. No, that's not what the Green New Deal says.
Phase out fossil fuels.
It says that we could build renewable energy opportunities. Look, I'm not going to defend the Green New Deal. What I'm telling you, though, is that we could make a whole lot more amazing jobs if we actually invested in renewable energy. You're on the record as backing the Green New Deal, Abdul. Look, I'm just telling you this. Are you opposed to the idea that we could reduce energy costs and create jobs in Michigan?
Absolutely, but I don't want windmills in Lake Michigan.
Jesse's so fucking annoying. Again, there's obviously like tweaking of the audio here. Jesse's like yelling over him. The best answer in this circumstance is to literally be like, we need to outcompete China. This is the greatest nation on earth. And we used to have a robust manufacturing base in this country. Green New Deal is actually trying to rebuild that. And Republicans like you play a big game and talk up the idea that you want to bring back industry to this country, but every time someone wants to do that, you stand in opposition because you're in the pocket of the fossil fuel industry. That's the other problem.
You're absolutely opposed to that?
Yeah, I don't want to put windmills in Lake Michigan. Do you?
Have windmills.
I don't think the people in Michigan want that, Abdul.
If you're
running on that, that's not going to go over too well.
We have a pipeline. No, I mean, Jesse, look. We can have a conversation if you want to. You want to keep cutting me off, we could keep doing that too. But you told me we're going to have a good conversation. I just want to talk about something.
Go ahead.
Right now, we have an oil pipeline in the Great Lakes. If that oil pipeline were to burst, the consequences for our Great Lakes would be disastrous. Now, you're telling me that you'd rather have a situation where that happened than a windmill? That really is so offensive to you?
No.
Now, those windmills are good
I'm saying I don't want to get rid of fossil fuels, and that's what the Green New Deal does. Let's move on. You want to soak the rich. Abdul, because this isn't a podcast. I got to sell ads in the breaks. You want to soak the rich. Let's listen to what you said about the taxes. Run it.
I also think we got to start taxing wealth for people who have over 100.
He had such a good take on this, by the way. Abdul wants to tax millionaires. That'll really put the fear of God into people's hearts.
$100 million. I mean, at that point, like, what even are you going to do with more money?
What are you going to do with more money? I mean, whatever I want.
I mean, Jesse, I don't know how much you make. Look, I don't know how much you
$1 billion.
Make, but I think I'd rather have.
He's lying, by the way, when he says he's not making $1 million. That's fucking bullshit. He's making multiple millions.
Well, yeah, look, so that's exactly it, right? The question ultimately is, do you want to drive on good roads, or would you rather have a billionaire make a second billion? That's what Mike Rogers wants. That's what Donald Trump wants. Apparently, that's what you want. I think the people in Michigan want something different. They want good roads and good schools.
So you're saying Beyonce, who just became a billionaire, she has to break you off something every year? She has to pay the politicians?
It's not me. It's the American public.
And yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Yes, absolutely.
I think would be happy to be able to contribute back to the public schools that she went to. I think she'd be happy to invest in good roads in her community. I think she'd be happy to pay a little bit more so that everybody had a little bit more.
You're reaching a little deep into the pockets,
to be defending
Abdul.
Billionaires from your channel, Jesse. That's a crazy thing. I thought you were for. I'm just saying. Look, at the end of the day, I thought you were for the everyday man. Like, if you're for billionaires more than you're for every other person, well, you and I are just going to disagree.
No, I just think I have the right to the fruits of my own labor. That's America. It's not communist. What you're talking about.
No, the problem
Let
with
me
it,
ask
Jesse,
you
is
about
you
socialized health care.
Billionaires don't make money. Let me just answer the question.
Sure.
No. Let me go back to that.
Go ahead.
Billionaires don't make their money off of their labor. That, I think, is where you head off. Billionaires that make their money off their money. So if you have $1 billion, your billion makes another 100 million. That's not the fruits of your labor. That's just the fruits of your money making money. I think it's okay. Like, if we tax you at 7%, you're still gonna make what, a cool $30 million off your $1 billion. I think it's okay. They're gonna be okay, Jesse.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of politicians like you capping how much money people make in America. You say you want socialized health care. Abdul, how much is that gonna cost?
It's gonna cost the average Michigander a whole lot less than they pay right now. But I'm just gonna tell you.
No, but what's the
I'm
price
up against
tag
a
of the
guy
program?
who voted to raise prescription drug prices 19 times, right? And so I'm just saying I want to bring your costs down. The price of the program is going to be substantially less for an everyday person who's out here who can't afford their health care and worried about losing their health care with their job.
Well, give me the total number.
Look, while you're out here trying to talk about the broader national budget, I'm a lot more interested in the everyday budgets that Michiganders are thinking about. And that's exactly the budget that Donald Trump and Mike Rogers are blowing up right now.
Well,
I just don't see why you're so on the side of the billionaires, Jesse, rather than on the side of everyday Michiganders.
No, because I don't want you guys to blow the country up. Do you know how much the federal budget is now?
What is it, like 7 trillion? I don't know. I have no idea. It's like 40.
You want to talk about budgets? I'm happy to do that. The guy who used to work on your channel, I think he was like the 6th host on the 5, he wanted to raise our military budget to $1.5 trillion, and you don't seem to be upset about that. What, so we could fight a war we don't know how to get out of, to raise our gas prices $5 a gallon? That doesn't make sense to me, Jesse. We want to talk about the things that we actually should spend.
Total expenditure for the federal budget is $7 trillion.
To me,
I
that's
have a feeling,
healthcare
Abdul, you don't even know how
schools.
much money the government spends every year. Do you know?
Look, the question, Jesse, to me
All right,
is,
so you don't know. Let me tell you what it is. It's $7 trillion a year. And your plan
Jesse,
to take over the healthcare system is $4 trillion.
And here's the problem with it. So to exactly your point,
I mean,
do you know what
I'm not very good at math. I don't think you're very good at
is?
math either, but go ahead.
Clearly you don't. And you don't seem to care. But I don't think most Americans want to spend that much money on military escapades so that the folks stranded on the USS Abraham Lincoln can't even get a sausage for breakfast. I just think that we could do a lot better with our money, Jesse, and I think that's where you and I tend to disagree.
I just disagree.
Mike Rogers agrees with you.
I think if you spend $4 trillion, everything else is going to get really expensive. You're going to look back at Bidenflation, and you're going to wish you were back there. But you brought up foreign policy.
Well, you want to talk about inflation? I'd be happy to talk about inflation. Jesse, you actually said the word. Because everywhere I go in Michigan, people are talking about the fact that they've never had to worry as much about life being as unaffordable as they say right now. Now, I get it. Donald Trump likes to blame everything on his predecessor. But let's be clear, this is Donald Trump's economy right now. And he's about to make everything so much worse because he's in a vanity war with the Prime Minister of Canada. And look, like, I'm in Michigan, and you're from New York, right? So you know Canadians, man. They're the only people I know who apologized before they even did his thing. So now they're raising the tariff to 50%. What's that going to do to inflation?
Yeah, what is spending $4 trillion going to do? I think it's going to make it a lot worse. But you brought up the war. Are you glad the Ayatollah is dead?
Yeah, I mean, look, he was a terrible person, but that's beyond the point. The bigger question is, should we have gone to war in the first place? So, look, I just want to be clear with you, right? I mean, I'm never going to defend the Iranian regime, but I am going to defend the idea that we probably shouldn't be fighting wars we don't know how to get out of. Oopsie, you go to war and you tell us that it's going to be a special military operation. That was in February. We're now in September almost, and we're still fighting the special military operation. I mean, it's not working for us, Jesse.
We're not really
this is exactly what happens when you've got a dunce in the White House who doesn't
we're not really fighting it. Yeah, because we lost, dumbass.
know what he's doing.
So you'd go back in time, you'd give them back their nuke program, you'd give them back their Air Force, their Navy.
No,
I go back in time to the JCPOA, baby. Barack Hussein Obama. That's what I give the Iranian regime. Obama. Or what I wouldn't give to go back to a time when the Strait of Hormuz was open. As you guys know, I'm in the business of import and export, okay? I'm a business owner. I'm a international shipping magnate, okay? And I love commerce, and I love when traffic in the straits, whether it be Malacca, whether it be Bab el-Mandeb, or whether it be the Strait of Hormuz, is no longer rendered inoperable. I love business. I am a fan of business. And as an international shipping magnate, I'm here to tell you that what Donald Trump has done is devastating for commerce. It's devastating for oil. I would like to continue trade maxing, and it really fucks me up. That Donald Trump is making trade impossible, not dissimilar to how one M. Pegasus has also made international shipping impossible in Singapore, which is my heart, soul, and dreams.
Because the nuke program's buried under a mountain of rubble.
And we actually had nuclear containment. Now, Jesse, you like to, I mean, look, I understand selective memory about history, but we had a JCPOA that was well negotiated, that actually had nuclear non-proliferation far more securely than what we have right now after having gone to war for the better part of 6 months.
Yeah, I like the fact that the nuke program's buried under a mountain of rubble. They can't even get access to it. But
I understand you're not good at math. I get that. I'll give you that. But science, we got to talk about science, okay?
Yeah.
You understand that, like, nuclear material doesn't just go away because you buried it under a mountain of rubble. You understand they could still go back and bury it out, right?
Yeah, we're watching it from Space Force.
Dude, Republicans understanding the world is like a child. It's just like, oh, well, we're watching it from Space Force, like a kid.
You said getting rid of Sharia law was white supremacy. Let's roll the tape. Go.
I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, those forces are alive and well today.
So getting rid of Sharia law is white supremacy. Can you explain that one?
Here he does this like rhetorical trick about canon law, but I think the better argument here would have just to been like, what is going on in America? Like, you think there's a real threat of Sharia law? What are you, fucking stupid?
You know what canon law is? Jesse, I assume you're Christian, right?
Yeah, tell me.
All right,
if it's fat dual, it shouldn't count. That's crazy.
Canon law is the name for Christian law. I don't begrudge you your right to practice your faith as you choose. I don't know why the idea that I could practice my faith as I choose is a problem. Nobody is trying to push Sharia law on anyone else, just like I hope nobody is trying to push canon law on anybody else, because we live in an America where you should have the freedom of your religion. So the idea that you have somebody like Tommy Tuberville, right, who, you know, barely was good at coaching football, is out here trying to ban Sharia law when there's less than 1% of the Muslim community in America, as if somehow Muslims are out here trying to push Sharia law. That seems to me to be deliberately targeting the Muslim community because they're different. I have no issue with people practicing their faith. In fact, I would never want somebody to push their faith on me, and I would never want to push my faith on somebody else.
Good, because no one wants you to get rid of your religion.
And so the idea, I'm
no
just saying,
one wants that.
When people preemptively go out there and start preemptively passing laws to ban something that's not happening, what you're trying to do is target.
This part is good. I think it's better to come here before anything else.
Target a very small community because they're different, and this operates. I mean, look, I'm just going to say, there's statistical evidence that the president and the vice president like to target me
kind of scary.
simply as a function of my faith.
You know, it's like men
Nobody's
aren't
trying to
equal
push it on
from
anybody.
women.
But
it's like
I just
physical
think you
punishments.
like to say the word, Jesse. Look,
People don't like
to
that
say
in
the
Michigan.
word
I'm just saying,
because it
I don't
seems
think
really,
that's a good
really foreign
position.
and scary. Nobody's pushing it. No, but Jesse, nobody's pushing it. You know what the issue is in America, in Michigan?
What?
The issue that people are worried about is not that somehow somebody's going to come and push Sharia law on them. The issue in Michigan is people are worried about how they're going to afford them.
Yeah, Jesse's like, not if I have something to do about that. Jillian Branstad says, it occurs to me that banning Sharia law is the wedge they want to use to push Muslim people out of public life. See Texas. The same way banning trans athletes is the wedge they want to use to push trans people out of public life, even though both are nearly non-existent. Exactly. Manufacturing a fake problem based on the most broadly acceptable version of the real harm you want to do. That nails it. Jillian Branstad nails it. Okay? Exactly. Yeah, these guys are fucking insane. The real goal, obviously, is to banish Muslims, to exile them, to deport them. But if you say that, some people are going to be like, that's a little strange. That's unconstitutional. You can't really do that. That's maybe a little bit too mean. So in the interim, before that is like a mass accepted narrative, a policy vision, they just have to pick apart at like random nonsensical bullshit that's not really a problem at all. There's a couple flips here that you can use because it's not a real issue at all. It's more so about obviously attacking Muslims.
Gas. The issue in Michigan is, how am I going to see a doctor when I get sick? How am I going to keep my job?
Think about another minority population that isn't Christian that operates with their own set of, personal religious beliefs. Like imagine Jesse Waters going against a Jewish candidate and being like, oh, you guys want to make sure that everybody lives under...
Mike Rogers is the guy I'm running against for U.S. Senate. And I know you've had him on your show. Maybe he answers questions. I don't know if he does.
I've actually never had him on.
Only. But look, you haven't. So he's ducking your show, too, because he's ducking... Look, can we all agree? Like,
I haven't
Jesse,
invited him on.
We're going to have a debate, right? Can we all agree that Mike Rogers is a beta? Can we all agree with that?
I haven't even had him on.
Dude won't even come on your show because he's afraid of getting...
Oh, it's over. This was the best. When you got the contentious host of Fox News laughing, it's fucking over.
Thrilled.
I will have him on.
That guy,
and I'm sure it'll be great. But Abdul,
like, Jesse, let me just
can I back up
he's
for
out
1
here
second?
Trying to talk about my...
Can I back up for 1 second?
Finish my point. I'll finish. I swear I'll be quick.
Okay, because Mike Rogers isn't here to defend himself.
He thinks he's running against Hasan Piker. Well, maybe then he'll actually come on your show. Maybe I'm doing you a favor then. But the guy's a beta, doesn't like to answer questions, and he dodges every debate. So I'm pretty sure he's going to dodge you too.
Need Mike Rogers on the show, but thanks.
All I'm going to say is this.
Thanks for booking it. I agree. Gas prices are too high. Gas prices are too high. Abdul, pipe down 1 second. Gas prices are too high. Green New Deal's not going to help that. You said that we get to keep our doctor. I've been told that before. We were lied to. So let's move on.
Jesse,
you said here. I want to move on because we do have to hit a break.
No. Let me just finish the point.
Please.
You told me you want to say something.
Go ahead.
And I want to just finish my point. Okay.
Yeah.
If the only answer that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have to this economy is to point to me and say there are scary words associated with him, I'm just going to tell you those scary words are not raising gas prices.
You want to know something crazy? There's no alternative to this on the left or in the liberal side. Like Mike Rogers would not get flamed, would not get like this aggressively prosecuted if he were to go on CNN. Like we all know that Fox News, you go on Fox News, they're going to rip you. They are going to attack you mercilessly. They're going to try to humiliate you. And you have to be on your best behavior. You have to be extra charismatic. You have to be extra funny. And it's great. Abdul is doing it. He's doing a really good job with it. The expectation is wild. The double standard is wild. There's no... Liberals would never do this to Mike Rogers. What's the liberal equivalent of this? Where that Mike Rogers would have to go on CNN? Like, I can see Jake Tapper and Mike Rogers having a sincere conversation about the dangers of Abdul El-Sayed's anti-Semitism. Mike Rogers go on Kristen Welker, which is not even like supposed to be liberal, right? It's supposed to be like mainstream. And they could just be like, yeah, we're all glad that you're finally fighting the good fight against the dangerous anti-Semite Hasan Piker. They wouldn't argue. They would agree with one another.
Or keeping you from seeing your doctor. I'm interested in getting money out of politics, putting money in your pocket, passing Medicare for all. And I think that actually will solve problems in Michigan.
I'm not scared of you.
If you think
Abdul, I just think you're a little misguided.
Or running against my faith is going to fix problems, go ahead.
No, I just played what you said and we talked about it, so we're all good. You also said this, you want to replace the right to bear arms with the right to health care. You don't want to replace the Second Amendment, do you?
Well, look, man, I think more people are more worried about whether or not they can see a doctor than whether or not they can have a gun. I'm just going to put that out there.
I mean, you're dodging the question. Do you want to replace the Second Amendment?
I'm just saying that more people are more concerned about seeing a doctor. If we had a right to health care in this country, they probably wouldn't. And I think that'd be a pretty good thing, don't you?
I think you dodged the question. And that's a pretty big one in Michigan. But I'll take it as what you said. You
Jesse,
said
look,
Colin
at the end of the
Kaepernick.
day, I'm perfectly fine with people. Let me just finish to answer your point. You said I dodged a question. I'm perfectly okay with people having their hunting rifles. It's an important pastime. I've got family that goes hunting every single year. But don't you think we should have a right to health care? Don't you think that'd be a good thing in America? Can we just say that?
75% of the country likes the health care coverage they have. I don't want to screw that up.
No, 75% of the country wants guaranteed health care through Medicare for all. So maybe you have your facts. I guess I know you have the alternative facts over here.
We'll find out.
I'll give you that.
We'll find out in November. But that's a Gallup poll. You might not believe it, but
yes,
I'm telling you what it is.
Yeah, 75% of Americans like their doctor. Oldest trick in the book, baby. Oldest trick in the book. It's a lie. 75% of Americans like their doctor, not their private healthcare provider. That's insane. 75% of Americans is so funny, too. It's like the idea that 1 out of every 4 American is the only one that's chirping about Aetna is ridiculous. Even people who are like the sons and daughters of healthcare executives probably still hide away in shame, unless they're Gretchen Whitmer, about, their father's job. I have in all my life never ever met a person that sincerely goes, I fucking love Blue Cross Blue Shield, man. That's what I ride for. I'm one of the 75% of Americans that loves Aetna, loves Blue Cross Blue Shield. Ooh. Yeah, no one likes their health insurance company. No one likes the idea that healthcare is paywalled in this fucking dumbass country.
You said Colin Kaepernick was a good guy, and you said the NFL.
Oh my God, he's mad. He's mad about Colin Kaepernick. Oh my God. Brother, get some new shit. Aetna. Hey, isn't it Aetna? Aetna? I don't fucking know. Shut up. It doesn't matter.
NFL was racist. What did you mean by that?
Look, I think for Colin Kaepernick's sake, I think he should have had several more years in the NFL. Now, I think he's a pretty damn good quarterback. I think, unfortunately, he lost a lot of time. But the bigger question right now when it comes to football, look, I know you guys like to think I don't like football, but I'm happy to line up against anybody who thinks that I don't like football. And I'll just tell you, the bigger issue that we have for football right now is I looked at ticket prices to try and go and see a game with my family. It's astronomical, through the roof. Now, I think football used to be the kind of thing that you could enjoy with people.
It's another dodge, Abdul.
So you want to talk about football? I want to talk about access to football.
I asked you if you thought the NFL was racist because you said the NFL was racist, and now you're talking about ticket prices.
No, I'm just telling you, the NFL is too expensive. The NFL is too expensive. You don't agree?
All right, so you don't think it's racist anymore?
I get it.
All right, well, I'm glad. You don't think the NFL is racist?
He's doing the thing about Thanksgiving. I like it. These guys are not primed for it. He's like, you want to talk about the NFL? You want to talk about NFL being inaccessible? It's far too expensive nowadays.
I'm just saying, most people can't afford that. Bigger issue with the NFL. You want to talk about the NFL? The bigger issue with the NFL is too many people can't afford it. I get you probably can, and I know that you're in New York, so you have like 2 teams that play in the same place, so you get 2 options. But I'm just saying that here in Michigan, we got 1 team, and most people can't afford to watch them in the stadium. And I'd like to make it more affordable.
So you dodged again. Sex changes for minors. Do you support that?
I remember having great conversations with my conservative friends about right-to-try legislation. The idea that the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. I just think the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. And if you're a minor,
you want to try on kids?
Now, if you disagree with that, if you disagree that health care decisions need to be made by a doctor.
Government needs to stay out of the decisions being made by a patient and a doctor. That's it.
They're a parent and a patient. Then we think we agree to disagree. But, you want to put government inside.
So, Abdul, you're a doctor, right?
I am.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
Do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah. But I mean, that's all.
That I thought was a little crazy. I think he should just stick to fucking saying, like, I think he should just stick to, healthcare privacy, medical privacy. We got laws in the books. I say this as an intactivist. They stole from me. I will never forget what they stole from me. I wish I still had my foreskin. Every day I go, they took my foreskin away.
Personal question.
Okay.
Doctor.
So you probably should want to move on.
Is circumcision's different than castration?
I think it's a problem. It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between a parent, a doctor, and a patient. And I'm just saying that, yes, circumcision is surgery on a kid's dingaling.
This is such a funny response. Never thought someone, let alone a Muslim candidate, would use this line. Unfortunately, mutilated copium is too deeply ingrained for it to land. Bro said ding-a-ling on Fox News,
think you guys are what happens between a parent, a doctor, and a patient. And I'm just saying that, yes, circumcision is surgery on a kid's ding-a-ling. So if you really want to bring that up, you can. I just think you guys are really selective about how you want to talk about these things.
Abdul, Michigan's not going for that. That is sick stuff.
That's wacky. Minors don't get bottom surgery. It's fucking bullshit anyway, but it doesn't matter. There's a million different avenues. The more you shy away from the procedures, naming them, the easier it is, because the reality of the matter is every medical procedure is gruesome. That's what it is. Open heart surgery is one where you basically chop someone's skin off, you cut them in half, you break their ribs, you pull them to the side, and it's a necessary surgery. If I can describe how gruesome that process is in great detail, but if you were to say, I don't think we should have open heart surgery, people will be like, that's insane. You're an insane person. Now, of course, in this day and age, maybe more Republicans, I could see them coming out against open heart surgery because that's how stupid the world is nowadays. But ultimately, the more you shift the conversation away from the gruesome nature of surgeries, the better it'll be. The best angle of attack here is to always say, look, I don't think random people like yourself and myself, and I say this even as a doctor, should have a say in decisions being made by a medical professional. If a medical professional thinks it's important for a pre-diabetic child to get on Ozempic, but you think that that's inappropriate, should we legislate that away?
Black people in Michigan voted for this white lady you ran against by like 8 points over you. What happened there?
Well, Jesse, I mean, you said it yourself, right? You got to give credit to Abdul. He ran
Look at the Chiron. Look at the Chiron. Dude, it's like, it is straight up. It's like an onion bit, bro. Black people voted for your opponent by 8 points. What do you have to say to that? Immediately, Abdul has a black voter problem. That's why it was really funny when he hit the mutilated penis line, because they couldn't put that in the Chiron. You know what I mean? They couldn't just be like, Abdul, intactivist Abdul wants me to regrow my foreskin.
I got outspent 11-1. That 11-1 is going to do something at the end of the day. Now, my job is to go and earn every vote. And we've been having some great conversations in the community. We'll continue to do that. And I have a lot to talk about when it comes to my work taking care of communities. I rebuilt Detroit's health department, led Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services, got to work alongside so many folks in the community to give kids glasses, take on corporate polluters, eliminate medical debt. I'm looking forward to continuing to have those conversations, and I feel really good about being able to bring communities together and beat Mike Rogers, who you and I both agree is a beta and won't come on your show and won't debate me in November.
Didn't agree to that, but that's funny. Reparations, do you support that?
But you laughed at it. Because you didn't say you didn't agree. Like, Jesse, you're very good at telling me when you don't agree with me, but you actually laughed at that joke because you actually agree. Sorry.
I think there's something very primal about, and almost childish about the way that like prominent Republicans operate, where if you kind of dominate them, if you bro out with them, they like lose their minds. That's why this is like a secret. This is like an antidote. When I pull this shit out around Republicans, they fucking lose their minds because they think like, oh my God, you're not like terrified of Donald Trump, because they've like in their minds, they have this image of a liberal that is a woke scold that simply can't have fun. They can't even mention Donald Trump, let alone own a piece of merchandise with him on it. It's chud tech. Yeah, it's secret chud tech to be like, no, I think he's a funny guy. I think he's awful, incompetent, dangerous, violent, whatever, but I also think he's a funny guy. And it breaks the hog mind. The hog likes trinkets. The chud likes trinkets. And the chud loves when you appreciate one of their hobbies. This is two of their hobbies, Zins and Donald Trump.
Schumer, you said you basically wanted his head on a stake when you were running in the primary. You still believe that?
Well, look, me and the senator have one goal right now. It is to win Michigan. So we're looking forward to doing that. And given the fact that Mike Rogers...
I didn't even realize that Fox's replacement for Tucker Carlson was Jesse Waters. Such a non-entity by design, I'm sure. Yes. That's the most powerful, most influential time slot in the country. They had to put a dullard on there and not like an actual white nationalist ideologue. I know for a fact, because I remember reading reporting on the matter where Rupert Murdoch had like another one of his wives. He's had many. And she became like a massive Tucker stan. And she was repeating shit that Tucker was saying all the time, including things that Rupert Murdoch didn't believe in. I think it might have been about COVID, because Rupert is not a skeptic. He's very worried about COVID, right? He was very worried about COVID. I think he might still be very worried about COVID. But basically, he saw how much his wife was invested in everything that Tucker was saying. It totally freaked him out. That was Tucker Carlson's first problem. Then, Dominion and all this other stuff. And, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm willing to bet Rupert Murdoch thinks less of you if you enjoy the Fox slop. He probably looks at you like you're an idiot, because you are an idiot.
Who you agree is a beta is my opponent. It probably shouldn't be very hard.
Okay. I respect the fact that you
still
came
haven't
on.
opposed me. Mike, bro, talk to your guy.
I respect the fact that you came on. I don't think you've really looked into some of the policies you're pushing. You seem a little naive, Abdul. I give you credit for facing the music, but some of the stuff's just straight up wacky. I don't know if that's going to fly in Michigan, but we're going to find out.
You know what's wacky?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. And you know what's wacky?
Yeah.
You know what's wacky, though?
Yeah.
Can I just tell you? You know you didn't ask me about?
What?
We got a president of the United States who cares more about the drapes in a ballroom that shouldn't be built than he cares about the war he just got us into, or that he cares about the affordability crisis. That seems to me to be a little bit wacky. So if we want to have a serious conversation about what Michiganders are feeling, I'd love to come back on and talk about getting money out of politics, put money in your pocket, passing Medicare for all.
Okay, we'll do it again.
I'm telling you, none of that is wacky, and that's what Michiganders want.
We'll do it again,
I look forward to it,
Abdul.
Jesse. It was a good conversation.
All right.